Hello friends, in this video we will discuss about inheritance. Inheritance is a feature of creating a new class by deriving the existing class. So the simple diagram it says that class A is there and class B is there. Here class B is derived from class A. So by which what will happen is the properties or the methods and members available in this class A is accessible by class B. That's what. So different types of inheritance are available. These are the types: single inheritance, multi-level, multiple, hierarchical, and hybrid. These are the 5 types of inheritance available. So let us see one by one. And before going to see that, we will see the syntax. So now, as usual, already you know that how to define the class. So this is the base class and this is the inherited class. So when you want to inherit a particular class, you have to use the keyword called inherits. Inherits is the keyword which is used to derive the base class. So now already base class is defined here, and in the derived class inherits base, which means now derived is a new class which is inherited from base class, and this is what the syntax is. And now I'll show you the example how this inheritance should be declared in the program itself. Now listen here. This is the base class. Now this shows this base class. For our convenience, I declared all the members, the member variable as well as member function as a public. Later we will discuss about how the protected and private affects. As of now, for our convenience, I used all the members as public members. Here, if you see, there are in the base class, there are 3 members are there. One is X, it's a data member, and it is declared as public, and Y is another data member, public. And one more member function is declared, which is add function, and that is also public, which means that all the public members can be inherited. So that is why I declared all the members as public members. Later I'll change the access specifier and I'll show how it executes. Okay. Now this is the inherited class. Now if you see this is the inherited class, and which inherits from base class. Now see the syntax: public class. As usual, this is the only additional keyword that we have to use to inherit. Okay, public class, inherit class. This is the new class. This is going to be inherited or derived from base class. This keyword will say that this particular new class is derived from the base class. Now in this, again I have 2 members. One data member of type access specifier type as public, and one more function called sum with public access, as an access specifier. Now what happens is, after inheritance, now here I am declaring the object based on the inherited class. Now if you see the derived class object, that is actually obj is the object of derived class, that is the new class which is inherited from the base class. So obj is the object of inherited class. Now it has the ability to access all the members of its own class as well as its base class. Now listen carefully. Obj is the object of inherits class. It is a derived class. Now obj has the ability to access its own members, that is z and sum. These are the 2 members which is declared inside this inherit class. In addition, it also has the ability to access the members of the base class, that is x as well as y as well as function add. All these members are possible to access by the object obj, because it is the object of inherited class which is in turn inherits from the base class. So this is the advantage of this particular inheritance. Now if you see obj.add, add is a method which is declared in the base class. So that is also possible to access here, and after that I am calling obj.sum. Sum is a method which is declared inside the inherited class. So now, as it is a public method, it is possible to access through the objects. So that is why it is both are able to access through the object called obj. Okay. Now, as I said already, as my convenience, I declared all the members of public because the public members can be inherited. Now, I'll execute and show you the output. Okay. After that, I'll try to change the access specifier. See here, after the execution of the add function, the base class from that is add function of base class from derived classes, now it displays the output. So it does not produce any error. That means it has the ability to access both the base class members as well as derived class members. That's what shown here. Okay. Now, what I'm trying to explain here is, instead of giving public here, I'm going to change it as a private. Now, one thing you should understand that public members are possible to inherit, whereas the private members cannot be inherited. To show that only, I'm trying to explain this. I'm trying to change this access specifier as private. Now, if you after you change, here you are able to see the error. What it says is, if you see here, you are able to see this. So y is not accessible. It gives the error message like this. Y is not accessible in this context because it is private. Now, what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to access the variable y from the inherited class. Previously, it does not show any error because all the members of the base class are public. Whereas now, y is declared as private. As it is a private, it cannot be inherited. So that is why it is showing error. So this is the second point. This is an important point you should remember. Public members can be inherited, whereas private members cannot be inherited. So you cannot access outside as well as you cannot be inherited. So this is the quality of the private member. Okay. Now, what about the protected? So when you say private, protected, already you know that except the public member, private and protected members cannot be accessed outside the class. Outside the class, it is not possible to access as private and protected. Public members can be accessed. Now, when you change protected, okay, now you cannot get the errors there, which ultimately shows that public members and protected members can be inherited, whereas private members cannot be inherited. Now you see here, you don't get any error here, which says that is protected members can be inherited. Okay, that's what the important thing. Rest all the same. The same output will come here also because just I changed it, instead of public, I changed it private. Okay. Whereas if you try to access here, now if you say obj dot, now you see here, when you say obj, you are able to call the add method, which is declared in the base class. You are able to call the sum method, sum function. This is declared inside the same class, that is inherited class. X is possible to access because it is member of a base class, whereas it is a public. That is why outside the class I am able to access, or through the object I am able to access. Whereas if you go for Z, okay, again, if you see Z is a member of inherited class, no issues. Whereas Y, here it does not show Y. The reason behind it is Y is a protected member. That's what I said. Private members and protected members cannot be accessed outside. This is one point. The second point, what it says is, private member alone cannot be inherited, whereas protected and public members can be inherited. This is what the point here I want to suggest. Okay, next thing. Now I explained you, that is here it shows the example of single. It shows the example of single inheritance. What it says is only, that is, the new classes derived from the one base class. Now this particular thing, when you say single inheritance, this is the example of single inheritance. This is the diagram, and what it shows is that is deriving a new class from one base class is called as the single inheritance. Deriving the new class, okay, from one base class is a single inheritance. Next one is multi-level inheritance. In this, if you see, deriving a new class from already inherited class. Now, if you see this diagram, you are able to clearly you can understand. B is a class which is derived from A, whereas C is another class which is derived from B, whereas B is not a direct class; it is a already derived one. So that is why what the definition of multi-level inheritance says is deriving a new class from the already derived one. From already derived one. Such a class is called as, such a level of inheritance is called as a multi-level. So this is, so the same can also be explained with another example. Now if you see the another example, now first as usual you see here also the same thing. I have declared all the things as public members. So initially A is a base class. A is a base class, in that X is a member which is declared and increment is a member function. Then now if you see the class B which is inherited from A, and in that the one more member is there, that is Y, and add is another method. Now add is trying to access the member which is present in the same class as well as in the base class. X is a base class member, so it does not show any error here. So which means that it is possible, public, as it is a public member, it is possible to inherit. Now another class C, B is inherited from A. Now the third class I declared here, that is nothing but the C, whereas which is inherited from already derived one, from the already derived one, because B is already derived from A. So now C is a new class which is derived from B. Okay, here I have Z member, that is another member. X is available in A class, Y is available in B class, and Z is available in C class. Now sum is another function which is available in C class, which tries to access X from A, Y from B, and Z from C. So here also there was no error, which shows that as it is a public member, it is possible to inherit. This is the example. Now if you see the OBJ object of class C, so now you are able to see add is a base class method, increment is a method of B class, sum is a method of C class, X is A class, Y is B class, and Z is all is possible to access because all are public members. That's what. So what it says is public members are possible to inheritance. For inheritance it is possible, as well as public members can also be accessed from outside or through the object. This is an important point. Private members cannot be inherited. Private members cannot be accessed outside. This is another important point. Whereas if you go for protected, you can do the inheritance. Okay, protected members can be inherited, whereas protected members cannot be accessed outside the class. That's what it is. And the last one is, sorry. The next one, what I'm trying to say is, it is a hierarchical inheritance. It shows that is deriving a different classes from the same base class. Okay? Deriving the different classes from the same base class is called as a hierarchical inheritance. Okay, I'll show the example for that. Here. Now I've used the class base class as A. Okay. Now A is a base class, or otherwise A is one class. Now I'm trying to derive a new class called B, which is inherited from A, and one more class I'm deriving, which is named as C, which is inherited from A, not from B. B means it will consider as a multi-level. Now it is a hierarchical. What happens is, it shows that deriving a new class, different new class from the same base class. Now B is also having the same base class as A, and C is also having the base class as A. So that is why this type of inheritance shows that it is a